The tackiest request you have seen on a baby/bridal shower, wedding or birthday invitation. 1. My sisters and I were invited to a bridal shower a few years ago where the mother of the bride was so obsessed with creating the perfect look that she rented a whole living room of furniture to stage the venue: sofas, tables, pillows, upholstered chairs and knickknacks. The bridal party was instructed to dress in similar colors for the shower. The last straw was that we were told the specific color scheme for wrapping our presents, and advised that they could be wrapped for us so our gifts would match the others. We scoffed at the request and arrived with our unmatching wrapped gifts, and since it was too late to re-wrap, they were stuck at the bottom of a pile of appropriately wrapped gifts so that they wouldn't detract from the formal shower photos. Luckily, there were pictures of mimosas, even though they clashed with the wrapping. 2. I straight up got an invitation to a bridal shower, not only assigning me a $400 present but a dish to bring 12 dozen deviled eggs topped with popcorn shrimp with a picture of the egg trays I was to use and where I could buy them at $30 a tray at a specialty shop almost 2 hours away. I didn't even know the bride. I was a guest of the groom. I had no intentions of attending the shower as I had never met the bride. When I called to decline the invitation, I was informed that if I did not attend the shower that my invitation to the wedding was revoked. By the time the wedding came around, nearly all of the groom's guests other than family had found themselves uninvited. Once they got married, it was worse. He couldn't attend any party or barbecue or anything that she couldn't or didn't want to attend. He wasn't allowed to invite his friends to parties and such either. Needless to say, their marriage didn't last long. 3. My dad walked out on my mom back over 30 years ago. He never divorced her but proceeded to live with 2 other women, consecutively of course, without marrying. When my mom passed, he told me he wanted to pay for the funeral, guilt perhaps. So I got prices and put everything together: caskets, limousines, prayer cards, etc., for a little over $10,000. After commenting on my skills in negotiating a very good price, then came the kicker. He wanted to sit in the receiving line because important people he knew, senators, representatives, powerful business associates, would be attending. Most assumed they were still a couple and he didn't want to shatter the image nor his relationships with them. I told him no way. He was no longer with mom and I would not let him make a mockery of her funeral for the sake of appearances. He pushed back and I told him, if necessary, my brothers and I would foot the bill ourselves. I prevailed and he spent most of the funeral glowering in a chair among the visitors. Aftermath: when I gave him the bill, he screamed up and down that he never agreed to pay for it. I told him I wasn't surprised, took the bill from him, told him I would no longer put up with his cheap shenanigans and that I would take care of it. He snatched it back, presumably to save face in front of the woman he was cohabiting with as she had heard him make the offer, and he ended up paying it. He died 2 years later. All of us sons were cut out of his will. 4. A close friend of mine was getting married. His wife was wonderful but her father and stepmother, not so much. They were rather wealthy and were helping to pay for a good chunk of the wedding. For this reason, his soon-to-be in-laws wanted to dictate everything about the wedding from the floral arrangements to the invitations. Fortunately, his fiancée pushed back on her family and she was finally able to push back to have the ability to pick out some of the things she liked, as a bride should be. She did concede on a few things that weren't overly important. Her. As an example, the soon-to-be in-laws wanted to dictate exactly what the invitation should say and how it should be said. His fiancée didn't follow the instructions and it caused a rift in the family. Anyhow, much like some of the answers here, the soon-to-be in-laws wanted to dictate the guest list, since they were paying, and what gifts people were to bring. It was an awful idea telling people what gifts they needed to bring. Having enough of it, my friend and his finance made an executive decision. No gifts at the wedding. For their honeymoon, they were taking a Mediterranean cruise and the gifts should be in the form of a donation to various excursions for the cruise. Any amount, if any, was acceptable and not required. No shopping for presents Ray in-laws wanted or anything. The excursion idea was great and they received many contributions. They had the dream honeymoon at various destinations around the Mediterranean.